Well, in a time where we're hoping for cruise prices to go down, 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 they keep going up, up, up. We have a cruise line announcing, not even announcing, just implementing a price increase. We also have an interesting scenario. Normally, Florida lawmakers are pretty pro-cruising, but recently they done put the kibosh. They put the stopgap measures on some pretty significant cruise expansion. And got a feel-good story for you out there. One of the world's most famous DJs got some love, got an homage from one of the world's newest cruise lines. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Plus, I'll show you how to find a repositioning cruise. That question was asked a lot. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lita Loga. I am your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for you. I'm like Ray Gun from the Olympics. Cruise news and views for your face on a Monday, the 26th of August, 2024. Happy Monday, everybody. Anybody out there got a case of the Mondays? I hope not. Let's kick it off with that feel-good story. Do you know the popular DJ from the UK named Fatboy Slim? You may remember a famous video that Christopher Walken was in dancing to a Fatboy Slim song. But the Fatboy Slim song I like the most is Praise You Like I Should. I'm gonna praise you like I should. That's a great song. This past weekend, Fatboy Slim headlining a music festival there in the seaside town of Portsmouth in the UK. And well, Virgin Voyages, their brand new cruise ship, the Resilient Lady, sailing out past that music festival. And they did something special to pay homage to that music festival. They made Pompeii show up on the side of the cruise ship using the lights and such, and Pompeii is the nickname for Portsmouth, which I don't know how that's the case, but a pretty cool visual, this music festival and the cruise ship in the distance with the Pompeii on the side. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Cruise news story number 2. Like I said, there's always been this pro-cruising vibe going on when it comes to Florida lawmakers here in Florida. And if you've been tracking along with the cruise industry for any period of time, you know that one of the quickest growing and expansive places in Florida when it comes to cruising is Port Canaveral. And recently, Port Canaveral, the Port Authority there, they announced plans to build a brand new cruise terminal. And they were progressing with those plans until somebody sent a letter saying, hey, we don't think you should do that. Now, the letter came to the Port Authority Council there from the Transportation Secretary and the Secretary of Commerce here in the state of Florida. And the reason they want them to stop is because of space. Because of rockets. The big concern for these government officials is that the expansion of the cruise industry in the form of new terminals and more cruise ships in Port Canaveral, they believe that it's going to limit the ability for the rocket industry, the space industry, to grow in Port Canaveral. And they sent a pretty strongly worded letter to the fact that, look, you can keep doing whatever you're going to do, but you might lose your funding. That's wild. Could you imagine, like, just out of the blue, you're like, hey, everything's going good. And then somebody's like, oh yeah, you can keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to pull the money away. So not surprisingly, the council voted 4-1 to scrap the whole terminal plan and to come up with another plan. Some debate as to what they're going to do with the land that they were going to use for the terminal. Some people in the space side, they want to use it for actually producing LNG, because LNG can be used by cruise ships and rockets. But some folks don't believe that that's the best use for that land. So the debate goes on. But I tell you what, I was shocked to see some cruise initiative in Florida stopped, because most of the time in Florida, when it comes to cruising, it's all go, 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 baby. What do you choose? Do you choose space or cruise ships? Now, in yesterday's episode, I talked about some pretty epic cruises that were going on, repositioning cruises, Carnival Panorama, repositioning to Asia so that it could do its dry dock and get its maintenance. But because of that, having a really epic journey over to Asia and an epic journey back, some great itineraries. And a lot of people said, well, how do you find these? Like, you know, it's just not obvious when you go to a cruise ship website to know when a repositioning or a big cruise like this is going on. Well, I'm going to show you. So I recorded a little segment here about how to find repositioning cruises, and let me roll that for you. So one of the ways that I go looking for repositioning or transatlantic cruises, trans-Pacific cruises, I use this website called Cruise Plum. Certainly you could reach out to your travel agent. You could go to the individual websites of the cruise lines. But I like this because it has a robust search engine. I got turned on to this by my friend Tommy Casabona at the Always Be Booked Cruise podcast. Make sure you check that out. So once you're on Cruise Plum, you just want to go to search. I'm just going to do a standard search. And you say start searching. How many passengers? We'll get the price for 2. They want to know where you're from, Canada or the US. And then they've recently changed their setup, so you get asked this, how you want the results displayed. I'm going 1 row per cabin. This is the way I'm used to. And so right now, this is an unfiltered list of thousands of cruises. But if you go down on the, and you could search by all these things, like the embark day, the disembark day. But the main thing that we want to do is we want to definitely tick 2 of these boxes. I'm going to go for, let's see, where's it at? The length of the cruise. Maybe I pass it. Cruise length right here. I'm gonna pick the ones that are 8 days and longer. So I'm gonna select all of these. Once we've made these selections, it automatically applies the filter, and then you can go and click on days, and it will give you the longest. If you keep clicking this button, the longest cruise out there, 197 days. And then the shortest one is 8 days. Now the problem is we still have round trip in here. So the other thing that we want to change is whether it's a round trip cruise or if it's just a one-way cruise. The kind of cruises that we are looking for are cruises that are not round trip. So we're going to say no to the round trip. And then again, as we click on the days, you can see the longest one is 197 days, Los Angeles to Miami. And then we have the shortest one that's a non-round trip that's over 7 days is the Ravenna to Barcelona. Now this still doesn't really get us 100% what we want. You could start clicking through and looking at that. But the interesting thing is, say you want to fly to Europe and come back to Florida, you can actually put the embarkation and disembarkation ports in there. One easy way to do it, say we want to end up in Florida, you want your debark port to be in North America. You want it to be in Florida. And you can see you've got 620 cruises coming to Fort Lauderdale, 520 coming to Miami, 74 coming to Orlando, 47 coming to Tampa. So you can start choosing those. And you can see it changes our results over here. So now we have a Barbados to Miami. You have a San Juan to Miami, Barbados to Miami. But then as you start to stretch it out, you start to see like Panama City. So that's Central America to Miami. Cartagena, Central America to Cartagena, South America to Miami. And if you keep going, eventually you're going to find some stuff in Europe. Here's a Boston to Fort Lauderdale. Don't know how far we have to go over. We could still apply one more filter if we specifically want to see what's coming from Europe. Say we don't want to do any of these South American or Central American. We can go back up to embarkation port, and then we can choose from these. So Northern Europe is going to have your, the UK is going to be there, Great Britain. So say you want to see what's coming from Southampton across to Florida. There you go. You could choose Southampton, and here you go. You start to see these transatlantic or repositioning. So you've got London to Fort Lauderdale, London to Miami. And then if you want to do other popular ports, the Netherlands, certainly Amsterdam and Rotterdam, you can add those to the mix. You could take the UK out of there, and it's going to show you some of these long cruises. And then you could do that in reverse. You could choose Florida as your embarkation port if you wanted, and see any of these long cruises that you can do leaving from Florida. So Cruise Plum, a very helpful tool. It's going to show you all the cruise lines, and again, you can make this search as granular as you want. But I got a lot of questions yesterday. How do you go about finding these transatlantic, trans-Pacific repositioning cruises? this is a way that you can do it on your own. Certainly you could work with a travel professional, but this is a good way to do it. There you go. I haven't done that search in a while, and there's some pretty nice looking cruises there. I recently did a podcast with my friend Don Terrace, and we talked about a lot of things, and we talked about why do people cruise? Do you cruise just so that you can go to the beach? That happens a lot of times out of Florida to the Caribbean. Do you cruise for the ship, or do you cruise to go to some bucket list destination? And I feel like where I'm at right now is I'm kind of a bucket list person. I want to go to all these different locales, and certainly that tool helps you find those exotic locales. I would encourage you to check out that podcast from Don and I. It's in audio form anywhere that you get podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff, Google. But if you want to see a video version of it, I've got the podcast in a separate place. And I think it's episode 36. So there's other interviews with folks. It's the first podcast I did since I got my thyroid removed. So I feel like it's good. So I'll leave a link to that at the end. Make sure you check out that podcast if you want like an hour-long discussion between Don and I about a variety of topics. But yeah, check that out. Now, shall we get to the unpleasant financial conversation of today? Princess Cruise Line has increased price on us, and it sounds like they didn't do it with much fanfare. Some of the places reporting it have said it was quietly put into place, and I think people are starting to recognize it. It's an increase in the daily assigned gratuity. Your tips have gone up. And we've been talking about this for a while. It's not that much of an increase. Everything's going up $1. Suite level, $19. Mini suites, cabanas, $18. Balconies, interior, standard stateroom, $17. That's $1 increase across all of those levels. It's in line with other cruise lines. Holland America, like $17, $19. So it's, it's just one more dollar, right? If you've got a family of 4 7-day cruise, your cruise price has gone up $28 if you're cruising on Princess. Fortunately, if you already purchased the Princess Plus or the Princess Premier, you're not going to see an increase of price. Still uncertain as to whether you prepaid your gratuities. Is that price going to go up? Most of the time, that's not the case. But it's, that's the times, I suppose. We're seeing increases all the way around in cruising, from the base price to everything really going up to, I guess, combat operating costs, that kind of thing. The interesting thing about Princess is that, they did make this change, but I think it was just last week that they've also made a big change to their Princess Premier package. And that's turning out to be a really nice package. It's $90 a day, which seems like a lot, but that $90 a day now includes that daily gratuity. So $17 at the lowest level. It also includes internet, which is pretty expensive. I think $28 per device per day. So 17 and 28 is 45. And then if you get any kind of drink package at all, I think the base one of those is either $50 or $60. And so you're already at the $90 if you just do gratuities, internet, and drink. And then inside that new package that they announced, it's unlimited drinks, unlimited specialty dining, unlimited digital pictures, and some other things. So, I tell you what, maybe the increase of prices on the a la carte stuff may be a mechanism to push people toward the package. I got a Princess Cruise coming up in December, and as we looked at all of those individual prices, we went with the package. So that could be a play. That could be the strat, as the kids say, the gaming kids. That could be the strat right now. But the costs keep going up, and ships keep being full. So I guess everybody's dealing with the cost right now, but I gotta feel like at some point people are going to drop out and say this is just too expensive, and hopefully that prices will go down. But it seems like right now, if anybody's dropping off, somebody is just slotting in and spending that money. So why would a business decrease their price in the midst of increased demand and the ability to fill up ships? I don't know, but what do you think? Does this $1 increase bum you out? On the surface, why would it? But do you think it's indicative of something more challenging, I guess, is the question. Thank you so much for checking out the episode today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Subscribe for more. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.